Steve in Oakland, you're on KGO. Steve.
Yes, Bill. Although I agree completely with you on how barbaric the Taliban is over there in Afghanistan, my question is, why are our allies over there, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, some of our other allies, how come they're not helping with some of this with the Taliban? No,
the answer is very clear. They're sympathetic to the culture that does this. They're very sympathetic. They have not volunteered. A lot of the support for the Taliban and the terrorists coming out of Saudi Arabia. You know that.
Exactly.
And Turkey stands off neutral. They wouldn't help us, and yet they suck up our money whenever they want it.
But my point is, why should...
But you do know we do have allies there. They're called the British and the Germans and others. And the British have suffered a good deal of casualties for the number of people there. The NATO forces are in Afghanistan with ours.
No, I understand that. But my point is, why are we risking and spending our blood and our treasure?
Well, first you complained about Saudi Arabia. That's pretty clear. If you're talking about in general, we shouldn't be there at all. Why didn't you just say that up front, huh?
Well, that's what I'm trying to...
Okay, well, I'll give you an answer. Have you seen the latest list of nations of the world that we rescued from tyranny?
Well, there's a lot of tyranny going on all over in Africa.
Well, sure there is, but it doesn't mean you don't try. It doesn't mean you don't try the next one.
But that's not the reason why we went to Afghanistan.
Well, what's the reason? No, give me the reason. Come on, let's cut the nonsense.
You just told us that the reason why we should be there is to police the Taliban. That's not a good enough reason.
No, we're there to defeat an operation called the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, who killed a lot of our people, attacked this country, and still carry out a lot of terrorism.
The Taliban attacking our country? I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't remember the Taliban providing a home and support for Al-Qaeda, huh?
But you said...
Hey, wait a minute. Let's go back. Let's see where your memory is. You don't recall Afghanistan being the home of Osama bin Laden? You don't recall that?
Filibuster.
Do you recall...
You said that we should be there because we need to police these guys. You just said that.
I did not say police. You're wrong. I said we should kill them. Well, do you hear that loud and clear? No, I don't. There's no sense in going beyond it. I said we are there because they need to be annihilated. Okay, very simple. You disagree with that, that's fine, but there's no sense in debating it. I hear your opinion, you hear mine. Okay. We're going to be up with the KGO News Update here in just a jiffy.
Yes, I agree with the other man's point of view and not your point of view. There has been a bloodbath going on in Nigeria, and we don't go into Nigeria. And the Congo has had problems. So I don't see why we should be in Afghanistan or Pakistan. And since 1973, the British people were there and the Russians were there, and they got nowhere. So I don't understand your point of view.
Well, I don't understand your point of view, so what do we do about it?
Well, I guess if we are so concerned with the mistreatment of people, and they are being mistreated, I guess the next thing we should do is go into Nigeria.
Well, let me ask you a little bit. You think we have not been in Nigeria or the Congo?
Excuse me, no.
We haven't. You're not familiar with any of the UN efforts to try to stop some of the strife and the killing there?
We are not doing anything like what we are doing in Iraq or Afghanistan.
We're not there to the degree that we've been in the Middle East, but neither of those countries has harbored terrorists that have attacked us here.
Excuse me, sir, but there is a great difference in what we're doing in Afghanistan and on the borders of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And besides that, this idea that...
Okay, well, let's hold a second here. I'm going to understand. So maybe there's a lot of substance to what you're saying. What should we do in Nigeria and the Congo? What is it we need what is it we need to solve there? Tell me.
Excuse me.
No, not excuse me. I'm asking you, what is it we should solve there? Please tell us, would you?
Excuse me, I didn't say that we should be there either.
But no, you said why aren't we there? Joan, this whole discussion is about why aren't we in Nigeria or Congo instead of Afghanistan? What is it we should do in Nigeria or the Congo?
You intimated to that other man that we should be there because these women are being brutalized, and it is true. But there are many African women that are being brutalized, and they have been brutalized for a long time in Nigeria and in the Congo.
Okay. Are you familiar with the amount of money in the United Nations efforts to try to help that situation in Africa?
I'm not talking about the UN. I am
Joan, who do you think pays for the UN?
Excuse me.
Who do you think pays for the UN?
The United Nations is supposed to be composed of many countries.
Joan, who do you think pays for the UN? Look, your suggestion that we're not doing anything is nuts, okay? I'm sorry. No, excuse me. I'm telling you, I disagree with you. You've got a good argument. Hey, we can always do more somewhere else. But to suggest we're doing nothing, you better go take a look at how much of your money and our money is going into Africa as well. Okay? No, excuse me. Hey, you've had your piece. I have to respect your opinion. I'm giving you mine, okay? Lawrence, San Francisco, you're on KGO, San Francisco.
Hello, Dr. Wattenberg. I called to say that I feel that there's just no justification for abject cruelty as epitomized in the story of the minor wife of a Taliban.
A 12-year-old girl who had her nose and her ears cut off by her barbarian husband. Yeah.
There's just no justification for that in the world.
Now, Lawrence, let me remind you, the previous caller, Joan, was right. Such acts take place all the time in Africa. There's slaughter of hundreds of thousands, millions so far, of human beings, including children. So she was right on that score.
And what I feel is inequitable is that we don't get information commensurate to what's going on in the world in our media. We get these juxtaposed, homogenized reports about stuff that's going on CNN and all this kind of stuff. And basically, Dr. Bill...
Well, I'll tell you this much, in my opinion. Wolf Blitzer and the CNN crowd would slant the story as if this 12-year-old was evil and she deserved the punishment, okay?
No, I'm not talking about the Taliban. They might even rain on that. I'm talking about homogenizing media so that people only really focus on stuff that incites them.
Well, I guess I don't know what you're talking about here. Give us an example. Let's use this story that we were focusing on.
There's horrible stuff going on in Nigeria. There's the Muslims versus the Christians.
Yes. No, there's been millions have been slaughtered there over the last 20 years in the various nations of Africa.
Horrible as what's going on in Afghanistan with these Taliban militants.
Okay.
Who take young women and then mutilate them.
All right. Hey, well,
but the two don't really match.
Okay, Lawrence, what's your suggestion? How do we solve this?
Well, I had two thoughts. One is there's no justification for these people, these men, these political...
Yes, we've heard that, but that doesn't solve the problem. What is the solution to it?
Well,
what do you do to a bearded barbarian that takes a knife and cuts off a 12-year-old girl's nose and ears? What do you do? How do you solve that problem?
I don't know.
You don't know? I mean, you don't know what you do. You don't know what you do to that guy, Lawrence. Lawrence, you're wasting our time if you have no idea of what you would do to somebody.
I'm not saying I have no idea.
What would you do to the guy that cut off the 12-year-old girl's nose and ears?
Those who use a knife should be subject to being the return of being used a knife against them.
Yeah, why not take that knife and stick it right in his, huh? Okay, that's as far as I can go, Lawrence. KGO time now, 10:41.